And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. Please make sure, as usual, introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're watching us from today. So if you're in Melbourne, I don't blame you if you're not with us today because restaurants just got open in Melbourne. I'm assuming majority of people in Melbourne lining up for restaurants tonight. But I hope some of you actually find some time to join us tonight. And tonight we are going to talk about what to post on LinkedIn to attract your ideal clients. So Andrew is going to share with us his tips to generate new leads each month on LinkedIn and be seen as a trusted authority. So we're going to discuss how to grow the authority with consistent content, create a personalized messaging system for your LinkedIn, and also use different types of engaging LinkedIn posts. So overall, today's discussion is about understanding, what role LinkedIn can play for you in this changing world, especially now, then staying connected online with your clients and professional community is more important than ever. So we all know if your business is not online, it's kind of just doesn't exist anymore. So it is incredibly relevant topic today. So please make sure you tag or share it with your friends who need to hear this. And before I'll pass it on to Andrew to introduce himself, obviously I'm expecting you to introduce yourselves in the comments as well. But I just want to remind you that we are going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And so to watch the replays, you need to follow Live with Yana on LinkedIn, or just subscribe to my YouTube channel and switch the notification bell. So you can get reminders about upcoming shows. So I'm going live every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time with various experts from my network. And we're talking about different things like effective online communication, LinkedIn, personal branding, content marketing. So please make sure to ask us as many questions as you want. So we're going to answer your questions from all the platforms. So yeah, make sure to keep asking questions. And we also have a giveaway for the most active participants. And so it will be a nice surprise for someone who stays with us for the whole 45 minutes. So Craig is here. Hi, Craig. Nice to see you again. So again, make sure you introduce yourself in the comments, and I'll pass it to Andrew now to introduce himself. Make sure you unmute yourself too before you introduce yourself.
Hey guys, thanks Yana. Thanks everyone. Great to be here. My name's Andrew Marmont, and I'm the founder of Concurve Content Marketing. Basically, we help experts share their knowledge, and we do that through creating content programs and content writing to really help position established businesses as experts in their field. So that's what we love to do, and I'm really delighted to share with you some real actionable tips, strategies that have worked personally for me and my business, as well as for our clients to get some real traction and attract your ideal clients on LinkedIn. So looking forward to it.
So before we dig into the discussion, let's ask the audience actually, how often do they post on LinkedIn? Guys, do you actually post on LinkedIn? Do you like posting on LinkedIn? How often you do it? Is it just ad hoc, or once a week, twice a week, once a month? Let us know so we can think about our today's strategy as well. So I guess before we go into different posts and options, let's talk a little bit broader about LinkedIn. So how do we start with LinkedIn, Andrew? What's your first step to get started with LinkedIn?
I think the first thing, Yana, is to make sure that your personal profile is really reflective of how you want to be perceived, and also who you want to attract when you're looking for new business, new connections, or whatever the goal is. So I think everyone, if we're serious about generating leads and creating good connections on LinkedIn, we have to start with our profile. So ensure that we really have an appreciation about who we want to connect, and then create the message. So I guess very briefly, it all starts by being client-centric. Having a good headline that talks about who you serve and what your mission is. your about section, which really talks about your story, your specialty, who you serve, and a nice call to action at the end, and also some media. What sort of, maybe some articles that you've written on LinkedIn, maybe it's a PowerPoint slide, maybe it's some great video. So the first step is to make sure, if you're going to be found, if you're going to try and attract your ideal client, ensure that your profile is really reflective. And if you're kind of thinking, well, where do I start? Feel free to connect with me, and you can see my profile, which I've eaten my own dog food here and written a really client-centric profile.
Yeah, so I guess it's the first step before even like start posting anything on LinkedIn. You just need to, lay this welcome mat for the people, so then they actually arrive on your profile. They're making sure that they welcome there and they can read something that's useful for them. So we're not going to stop too much in the profile writing today, because our topic today is actually what to post on LinkedIn to ideal clients. And I think we talked a lot with Karen before about how to write a LinkedIn profile. So you guys can refer to that stream for these tips. Today, we're really going to dig in about, like posting and messaging on LinkedIn. So let's go to step 2 straight away, Andrew. So what's the step 2 for you?
Step 2, once you've got a real client-centric profile, now it's time to start engaging and connecting with the people that you want to connect with. So really, for me, it's a 5-step process. The first thing you've got to do is really identify who you want to connect with. So this is where, if you haven't already, do a deep dive in terms of your ideal client. I suggest you pick 1, maybe 2, but pick 1 to start with. Who is the ideal person that you want to connect with? And then focus on getting a good list of people together. Now, I won't go too deep in terms of how or what solution you use. LinkedIn has got a few different options. A free account can give you some functionality. Again, if you want to take this to the next level, you might choose Sales Navigator, which is a wonderfully very functional system. So first step, ensure that you confirm in your own mind who you want to identify. Then it's about connecting. So ensure that you really have a personalized message request, because the goal there is for them to simply accept. You want to accept them to accept and get a connection with you. And I might sort of pause there for a second and ask you a question, Yana. How many times has a stranger come to you on the street and tried to and proposed to you? Has that ever happened before?
Sometimes, I'm lucky like that. People propose to me all the time. Yeah.
Well, if you're watching and you're thinking, look, that doesn't probably not happen to me, that's what happens in reality a lot of time with LinkedIn. I'm sure we can all remember times where we've got a connection request, we have no idea who this person is, and they've got a great solution for us then and there that they can't wait to show us. We know exactly what you want. Let me sell it to you. That's the surefire way to really turn people off. So really ensure that you get a nice personalized connection message. What's going to be relevant to them, compliment them, maybe reference an article that they wrote. Is there a company in the news? Talk about that. I love what you're doing with your company. I'd love to connect to learn more. Make it about them.
And you know what? I must say, if you have a choice to, write the message and you're connecting or not, I would rather not write any message than write a general one. I don't know, like my personal experience, if I'm going to connection request and then I see like something like really general, that puts me off more than no message. So I would rather see no message, no note in the connection request than some general, like really generalized message. Then for me, it's like I feel like it's a bot message and someone just automated and sending it through. But actually, guys, what do you feel like? Do you actually usually accept requests from people who leaving you a note or who don't leave you a note? So actually curious to know, because that's me. Like I don't like general notes. What about you, Andrew? Actually,
well,
how do you feel about it?
I mean, I've come from a recruitment background, Yana. You know, I spent 10 years using LinkedIn to find candidates and connect with people. And for me, it was so important to create a personalized message, because if I were wanting to connect with a person that was perfect for my role, then I had one chance to make an impression. If I couldn't connect with them, then that opportunity might be lost. So I would sort of recommend, because I don't know, again, it's think about where you are at the moment. And if someone sent you a message and there was no note, would you accept it? I don't know. Are we a bit cautious nowadays about who we let into our personal worlds? And LinkedIn has become part of that. Yeah, so I'm a proponent of let's be really, again, it's all about human to human here. LinkedIn is human to human. So let's be a human with our connection. Again, it just has to be personalized. Doesn't have to be long. 1 or 2 sentences, that's it. Goal, connect, get a connection exception.
I just had a comment from Craig. I do not have preference unless it's automated, in which case it's a turn off. Yeah. So again, like this general message, especially then it's really noticeable then your name and the surname. It just autofill in the name and surname. I have a comma in my surname, so every time it's autofill, like I know it's automated message because the comma will come up.
Yeah, you can spot it pretty easily. So that's really the second part. From there, once they say yes, again, just doing a bit of a high level approach here, then your goal is to really start a dialogue. So what we want to do once I guess we call it the concierge space. So we just want to get to know a little bit about them and start a dialogue. So it might simply be, again, compliment them and say, hey, you're in a similar industry to me. How are you finding things at the moment? Or again, maybe they've shared a great news article. I love that article. It really made me think about, leadership. What's your opinion on how leadership's moving in that next direction? So the third part is it's a 30-second, it's a dialogue starter. Imagine if you're in a networking room. Again, hello, how are you? Let's connect. That's your connection. And then tell me a bit about your business, how you're finding things at the moment. That's really what we're trying to replicate here with the concierge. Start a dialogue, keep it light. Just, again, we're not trying to sell yet. We're just trying to establish a base of connection. And also we can see if they respond like really quickly, then we know that, they're keen to start a conversation. So concierge it. Then I guess the fourth part, the most important part, is then to create value, which is really where what we're talking about is this is where we get personalized with our strategy. And this is where we make sure that the information we send is really valuable to them. So we might talk about, I speak to a lot of people in your space, and they often find that these are the problems that they face. We've actually put together a resource, a guide, a video, an article that addresses these sorts of concerns. It's got these benefits. Would you be interested in receiving it? Or, here's a link. Feel free to have a look. So what our goal there is to take it a next level, which is about creating value that's, again, not general. We're not talking about a guide that's general to a whole industry, like, a whole bunch of professionals. For example, if we were, Craig, I'm not sure what your focus would be, but say if it was, I don't know, financial services professionals, then you might say, look, we've crafted a guide, how to, like an IT managed services guide for financial services professionals. So again, you can kind of see we're not being a scattergun approach. We're just being targeted. So we want.
I also noticed what you mentioned about creating the value and sending people link. I usually don't send people any link until they agree, because I feel like the days and you just can send people an ebook or something, they kind of gone. So there's too many ebooks, there is too many resources. So I usually wait for the people to reply. So I would ask, like, oh, would you like the link to my new webinar? Or would you like me to send you and only if they say yes, I'll send the link, because I feel like as soon as you send the link, it's like unsolicited advice. these days.
Correct.
So it's just too many links around.
Good point.
And Analia is actually asking, should we aim for connect or just message? I just want to address this. You can't message people on LinkedIn unless you already connected with them, unless you have a premium, LinkedIn premium. So if you want to message people on LinkedIn who's not your connection, you have to pay for LinkedIn premium. So just so we're on the same page.
Yeah, but it also, good question. I think even if you've got a Sales Navigator, the paid version, I would still encourage people to use the connect method. So send them a personalized connection request, even if you got paid, because again, we want to start the connections. We want to establish connection. I might just sort of touch on the last things because I really want to get into the meat of what we're here to talk about, which is the content. Once you've got once they say yes, then it's about taking it offline. So we want to have a message there to say, great, can we book in a 15-minute call to talk and go through it a bit more. Obviously, you'd have your own sort of approach there. But I guess the gist of what we're saying here is have a good profile that's client-focused. Then you want to, this is optional, but again, if you're really serious about harnessing and attracting the right kind of client, outreach like this is a good step. So let's go to the third step, if you like, Yana, which is I think
we have a quick question from Craig here as well. What's the percent of people should you aim to get response from? So what's from your experience, Andrew?
I guess so this is really where your search comes in. If you've got people and if you've got a good personalized message request, you'd think it should be 70%, 80% plus. Some people don't check LinkedIn. Most people are pretty happy to accept a connection request, and if you make it personalized, so I reckon maybe 80% or above, I would suggest. And again, if you reference something, I'm a member of X organization just like you, or and you're providing it all about them, then I reckon you'd be on a high percentage. So
I think it also depends how narrow your audience is. So if you're aiming for quite a narrow audience and particular people, that's easier, and you have a higher conversion rate, like connection exception. But if you as broader you go, as lesser percent, and if you're going with the general message, I would say it's like drop to 10%.
Absolutely. Bang on.
For the getting response. So, so that's just overall strategy about the messaging. Let's get into the posting. So I like the speak as well that you put here.
Yes. So really, the first sort of thought I want to leave you with is that if we want to establish ourselves as an authority in our space, we want to attract our ideal clients, we need to realize that when you post content, it's really not about you. It's not about showing that you're showing all about your achievements and things related to you. For me, it's all about actually sharing information and creating, again, a dialogue through a content plan that's going to relate back exactly to your target audience. So please don't make this mistake that 98% of LinkedIn users make, where the stuff that you post is really all about them, and there's no real thinking done about what value is it for my prospect or my target market or the people I want to connect with. Because if it's not really about that, then there's so much content, there's billions of posts every day, it's just going to get lost. So I thought I'd start with that I'm sure you can, you've got a lot of experience in the space as well, Yana.
And now we also want to ask our audience as well, because I guess when you're thinking about what you want to post on LinkedIn, you should ask yourself, what kind of content do you like to engage on LinkedIn as well? And because sometimes we overthink about what we should post instead of just observing our own behavior and noticing what we like to engage with. And, some people like to watch videos, some people don't like to watch videos, some people would rather read the post. Some people would rather see some slides and so on. So guys, whoever with us on the line today, what kind of content do you like? Do you actually watch the video? Do you prefer to just to read a quick post or just see a nice image? Or maybe like polls? I think polls been really successful on LinkedIn as well because it's so easy. You just you just vote. And so what kind of content you've been noticing, you've been engaging on LinkedIn? Let us know while Andrew's continuing with this with his ideas.
Absolutely, yes. So I think so when we think about the kind of the posts that, again, that I've found work really well with our clients, but also with us in our own marketing, there's really 5 key types of posts that I would encourage you to think about and build when you're looking to create sort of consistent content. So really the first one that we want to talk about is thought leadership. So when we talk about thought leadership posts, that's really where you take a view on your industry. Maybe there's some trends that are happening in your space that you want to share. Perhaps it's a comment on the way that the customers are moving towards. So trends, like, again, it's really your take on a particular issue or topic that, again, is going to be relevant for your audience. So for example, you can see there on the screen, one of our clients, Sean, who's a custom signage operator. We really focused on leading the way in the industry perspective. So a lot of the content that he might share is about what is important for the industry as a whole and where the future of his space is going. And he's got a lot of great traction in his business because people realize that, he's out there making comment that people are identifying with, but maybe they're not comfortable to share, or that they realize that that's all conversation. Again, it's relevant. So, pick a side. You're going to be, your experience in your industry. You've probably gained a lot of information and knowledge and insights, and you probably read a lot, and you probably absorb information. So what can you say to comment that is going to be relevant to your space? So that's sort of the first thing. Think about what's of interest, which is why I think we asked that initial question: what kind of content do you like to engage with? Because for different people, it'll be different things. But certainly, form an opinion, share what you know, and start a dialogue.
So we have a comment here from Craig. He's saying, I engage on polls and the requests for help. Okay. Yeah, requests for help. That's an interesting one as well. And I guess makes you more human than you ask for help as well.
I love that, Craig. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
A bit of
polls definitely. Polls, they easy. So I think everyone kind of like polls at the moment. It's new feature. Algorithm like it. Everyone just clicking on it. But yeah, the request for help as well. There you go. So would be nice to Craig, if you have some particular example about request for help, let us know as well. So let's go back to your
So
ideas.
I might cover a couple of these, and then I'll share my screen and I'll show you some real life examples there. So there's other couple of options. Lessons learned is wonderful. We're talking about being human, and again, you can. So Sean's there with the colourful shirt. We decided that, again, this might appeal to you watching. If you've been in business for a long time, then you've probably experienced a few different highs and lows. You've been through different cycles, and what you've got to share, whether it's your own business experience, maybe it's a personal story that relates back to themes that, again, are important to you and important to your target market, can really strike a chord. And I remember that, this one here with Sean, he had a revelation in his business one day. It was sort of 10 plus years ago in another company he ran. And I'm sure Sean will be okay me sharing this, but essentially a mentor told him, he stood up at the back of the room and they said, so hands up who's got a good business. And, he put his hand up, and then the person came out and said, actually, no, hold on, you've got not a great business because, you work X amount of hours and you're not getting paid much. So how does that work? Anyway, it was a story about being thinking about your business and how that translates. And the post itself, it did so many engaging. I think it had 2,000 views, and we had a lot of people come to him from that and say, I really resonate with you. I appreciate you sharing your story. So lessons learned, again, I did one. I remember the first 12 months I was in business, and I talked about what I'd experienced and maybe, 5 things that I'd, in hindsight, that I've learned along the way. So if you're in a position to share again, it might be a business story, because LinkedIn, it's a chance for you to actually share some vulnerability and just share your sort of view on the culmination of what you've done. Lessons learned is great.
I just, like this vulnerability topic is really touchy as well, because I think some people take vulnerability a bit different. So I guess LinkedIn is not Facebook. Yeah. So it's not about just spewing out everything you felt like, and, in 2 months, and posting pictures from a hospital and things like this, because I think people sometimes just truly overdoing it and taking it a bit of a wrong way. But I guess the point is, this like a lesson learned, like actually showing that you, if you make some mistake, that what did you learn from this mistake, and how it helped your business. And I think you also mentioned here with the Sean post, he has a really catchy headline. Yep. So, like, let's face it. So it's also about how you write the post as well. And, you as a copywriter probably can tell us more about it, because if he would start the post simply about, that's something that I've learned, I don't know, through my years of experience, maybe not as many people will click on this post, but because it's a really catchy headline, I think it's make people actually to click this, see more, and keep reading this post as well.
Yeah, so a little bit, about the headline, it's a sort of classic idea of what's going to hook the person in and stop them from scrolling, because you all get inundated. And sometimes if you've got a team, it's great to brainstorm these ideas. And if you've got someone who does your marketing for you, then obviously they'll kind of interview you and talk to you about certain things, experiences. But if it's just yourself, then doing a bit of a thought process, have a bit of a think about what you can share, and almost use that language and bring that out in the story. So for Sean, it was the quote from this mentor was, "Sean, you have an SHIT business." And to me, that was like a showstopper, because if someone said that to me, I don't know whether I'd slap around the head or cry or do something in between. So when you're, especially perhaps with your lessons learned, really, it's okay to kind of go in the emotions. So it might be something like, if you imagine, I don't know if everyone out there, if you like reading books and you look at the thriller books, and you might, the first page of a book or the first page of a magazine article, they always, and I can speak because I've come from, journalism and writing and things, it's always about hooking them in, because if you can hook them in, then you're going to do a better chance of actually engaging them. So think about maybe it's a quote or a moment in time. Maybe it's, it was a moment that was make or break for you, or, you were running out of time. You had a month left before X happened, or I remember it yesterday. I was going to give up. Something like that, to really give the emotion. People will respond to that. Have a play, what could happen. They might engage with.
I like the simple idea, just thinking about the quotes. Yes, that's something that I think everyone, all of us can do, even if we don't have like much, writing experience. Thinking about some quotes from other people, or something that someone told us and it's really touched us. Yeah, and starting post with with this instead of starting post with some introduction. Yes, so start with post with the quote and then go into the going into the details.
And I'll show you, I mean, the last thing or the third sort of most, I guess the top type of post is sort of the answering the frequently asked questions. So this is a really easy one where you might get certain questions that people ask you all the time from new clients, from current clients, from prospects, from contacts, from people you work at networking events. And really all you've got to do is just make a note of them, whether it's a Google Doc or a workbook or something. And then this is really about responding to those questions through an article or a video. And I'd like to share exactly how we've harnessed that to really position ourselves as an authority in the content writing, content marketing space. So it's okay, Yana, I'll share the screen, or do you do that for me?
Yep.
You've got that there. So we recently we had we did a number of videos all around frequently asked questions. And for example, a question that I get a lot of is, how often do you communicate with your customers, or what's your advice on what that looks like? And it often starts with an email newsletter. So we did a video on that. And, how do you ensure your emails get read? Well, it starts with the subject line, and we talk about, some ways to do that. Here's another one. The homepage is often, for example, we do a lot of website content writing, and I get asked, what's the most important page? I want to write 10 pages of content. And I always start with, well, unless you get your homepage right, then you can kind of forget about the rest of them. So here we share what the main sort of aspects of a good homepage look like. So again, we've got a whole bunch of ideas that you could sort of take for yourselves. You can translate that into tools and free downloads, which I can sort of share at the end of this as well. But really, answering questions and answering sort of, just answer questions that you have from your clients. And just briefly with your thought leadership and your lessons learned. So again, a couple of examples. I did this earlier this year. A lot of people ask me, well, how do I even start? What's your model? What's your process? So we did an article about, well, how do we start positioning someone as an expert? Talk about the model. Are you niching down, or are you someone that tries to do a lot of different services? And again, just briefly, the comment that I made before about lessons learned, what I learned in my first year of business. Again, it's a nice reflection piece. It gets you talking. It gets people sort of understanding, oh, that's where you are in your business. I didn't realize you had a business, or what have you. So I guess the takeaway, hopefully, that you can kind of get to see there is, if you were to create content that's going to really attract your ideal clients, then start with what you know. Start with, you've got, some good industry insight. Let's share that, whether it's in the form of an article or a video. Probably the easiest two ways to do it. Maybe video is probably the easiest. But write an article. Maybe you're a visual person, so perhaps you put together a PowerPoint slide or a couple of slides on your industry that you did at a webinar recently. Well, let's share that and kind of explain. So, and the second part is, freely answer questions that keep coming up, because you can bet other people will want to know that too. And if you're educating people along the way, which I firmly believe LinkedIn is really about, once you connect with them, then it's about actually continuing the conversation in a sort of osmosis way, where they get to see your content. They understand you're all talking directly to them. It's all targeted information. It's stuff that they want to know about. And guess what? People will start to come to you and say, you know what? In fact, even this week, I had 3 people that came to me and said, I love your LinkedIn, your videos and your content. It's actually prompted me to reach out because, you seem to be the guy that does X. So,
and really specific, really specific as well.
Yeah, that's what it's
really
about. Like
really specific replies. I think a lot of people sometimes go too general, but then you really giving the specific answers to specific questions. when usually I find that people engage the most. And also, I think the little tip here, I tag people who ask these questions as well.
That's a
So,
great idea.
if I get a similar question from a few people, I just make sure I'll tag them in the post as well, because or I'll share it even in the message. If someone asks me some question and I created video about it, especially if I'm sharing my screen or something to show, I don't know, how to apply for LinkedIn Live, for example. So I can, I have a video post and I can send it in the message to the people who actually ask me this question. In this case, this post already getting some engagement because people specifically ask about it.
That's a great point, Yana. And I think the other part of this is, again, I went through a process where I created a lot of content, but no one saw it. So what you've got to also think about, again, if you've got a team you can use to your advantage, maybe you've got a network or a group of people that are also on LinkedIn and you're looking to sort of help each other out, is, form a mini sort of boost club, if you like, where you say you say to your team, look, we're going to post, once a week on a Tuesday at 12 o'clock. I'd like everyone to jump on and like it and make a comment and maybe tag someone who'd be interested, because LinkedIn responds to people jumping on content quickly and engaging with it, and therefore that's when you see the results that I showed you before, where people within sort of 24 hours, 48 hours, but it doesn't have to be that type of time frame, but obviously the more people that can jump on it straight away, then you're going to start to organically boost your content so it gets seen by different people. The main thing is, is doing it consistently. With all of this, like anything, you've got to keep showing up. It's no good doing a post and then a few posts and then sort of saying, oh, look, it's too hard. Whatever you decide to commit to, it's important to keep going. Just like you, Yana, you're the perfect example of someone who has decided and committed to posting regular content. And, it's thought leadership. It's positioning yourself as an expert. It's also edifying other people. And, I'm sure your profile within the, YouTube and obviously LinkedIn, it's going to continue to grow because you've committed. And already that's enough for a lot of people. Well, she's committed. She's always here at this time. It's the same with your posting. If you're going to do something on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, you just need to keep going, because it does. As I say, it takes varying amount of times, but it does work. So make sure you keep going.
It's a building a momentum as well, because not everyone will like your post. So you need to remember, if even people following you, it doesn't mean that they will engage with every single post and they will like every single post. So don't ever get discouraged. And some posts, went through the roof, and another post didn't get any engagement. It's even the same with my live streams. Yeah. So sometimes I have a lot of people watching, a lot of people engaging. So today, Craig, keep commenting already, 20 comments from Craig. So it's always, encouraging that people get involved. But sometimes it might be just, 2-3 comments. And that's okay. So it's not something that should, discourage us from keep going, because again, consistency, it's reliability, consistency builds trust, and make you look like an expert in the industry as well. Sorry, Andrew, the quick question before we go on this point. So Craig actually asking, how long is your videos? You show us a few videos before with the answers. How long those videos?
Sure. Look, most of them, Craig, are probably between 1 to 2 minutes long. So there's usually, it's short, sharp, it gets to the point quickly. And it's really designed to provide some coverage on one particular issue. YouTube is great for the longer form of content like this, but for LinkedIn, we imagine that people are scrolling. Is it an issue that's going to be targeted? Can you talk about it in a minute and a half, perhaps? Then, it's just designed to keep it. It's like a short, sharp sound bite that, if people want to know more, that they can delve deeper. That's my view.
It need to be easy to consume. I believe it's easy to consume. Totally. Short bites of educational content. So it's actually another really good question from Anali. can you schedule post on LinkedIn? You can schedule posts on LinkedIn directly, but you can use some third-party tools. Andrew, do you use any? Can you recommend any tools?
Yes. So I use a tool that's run by a guy who I know really well in my business community, BuzzLink. So Paul Teschney from BuzzLink Digital. He has a social app. There are other tools like Hootsuite is one. It's quite a popular one. You can schedule text posts and images, but if you're looking to do video, we don't have that feature on LinkedIn as yet. So personally, I have a wonderful person who actually posts on my behalf every week. They manually upload it. So if you're looking to do it, you've got to kind of do it manually and work out a system that works for you. Hopefully that answers.
Yeah, video is tricky, because if you're trying to use third-party tool to post video, it's end up posting it as a link, not as a native video, and the algorithm is dropped, so you don't get as much reach with your video. So don't use any third-party tools to post the videos. But we'll put the link to BuzzLink and Hootsuite in the comments after this video as well. So it will be in the comment section.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess Hootsuite, and I think Social Pilot. I think another one. I think you can do the LinkedIn as well. But yeah, I haven't been using those because I post only videos, so it's kind of doesn't work for me. Scheduling doesn't work for me. But I'm sure soon, I believe LinkedIn will allow to schedule posts on your business pages. The feature will come. The feature will come eventually. I'm sure it will.
Changed my life, Yana.
Let's, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll wait for this feature.
Definitely.
So, what else would you like to add, Andrew? So we covered the three most popular posts that we can use. So the thought leadership lessons, frequently asked questions. So actually Craig was mentioning something about asking for advice, requests for staffing services, not buy a property. So do you have any experience with those, like requesting help? I don't know, just randomly asking you.
So the question is how do you ask for help when it's more of a personal nature, or is that what the question was? Like as in how to buy a house?
That's just another type of the post that you can do, like, because Craig mentioned to us before that he engaged with the post and people ask for help, but I believe we can ask for help quite differently too. Do you have any examples, what would you post on LinkedIn that you want to like ask for help? How would you approach that?
I think
just putting you on the spot here,
Yeah, I would probably. I would just sort of make it genuine. I'd probably put like an image. An image is always a good way to just visually tell that story. So I don't know if you look at the idea of maybe you're recruiting, for example, and you've got the that famous American sort of "I want you" image from World War II, I think it was, or something like that. Maybe it's a meme. Maybe it's a I don't know, a photo of something. Perhaps you could sort of present yourself in that way and say, look, I'm looking for help with this sort of particular skill. Does anyone know? Maybe something like that. I'm not sure if that answers the question, but I guess if you're going to ask for help, then you just put yourself out there. Maybe you want to do a short video and just say, hey guys, I'm looking for this. Does anyone know of any examples? Then you can tag people that might be relevant. That could be enough. I haven't really used that feature very much. I would just say that, if you're going to ask for help, just be genuine and just put yourself out there, maybe with a video or an image, and see if that makes any difference.
Yeah, I guess, and you're asking for help and you're connecting more on a visual level. That definitely helps. if it's a video or picture or something in this line. So we are getting to our 45 minutes mark, Andrew. So it's time to, to wrap it up. Guys, if you have one final question to Andrew, please just quickly put it in the comments. And and I just want to remind you that I'm actually going live, as you know, every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. And next week, I'm going to interview myself. So make sure you rock up to this one. This is an important one. And we're going to talk about how to feel confident in front of the camera. So I want to, make a stress on the word feel. So we're not going to talk about any equipment, lighting, or anything like this. We're going to talk actually why we feel certain way in front of the camera. So that will be next Wednesday. And Wednesday after, we're going to talk about how to leverage your LinkedIn company page. Yeah, because we talk a lot about the LinkedIn profile, personal profile, but we haven't talked much about LinkedIn company page. So that's what we will be doing the week after. So make sure tune in every Wednesday at 5:30. And so, Andrew, what's the best ways to connect with you?
Probably on LinkedIn if you want to send me a connection request. The other sort of tools I've got some tools around developing your own marketing that were put together. So LinkedIn post hacks, which is essentially some of the stuff that we talked about today, but a bit more in-depth types of posts. We've also got a resource to help you really understand your ideal client, which is obviously at the core of all of this sort of stuff. And then we've also got a guide on how to build LinkedIn content, more of a sort of content calendar focus. So all you've got to do there is go to our page, concurve.com.au, free marketing tools, put in your details, and we'll send that straight away to you. But again, happy to connect with you. And I think, Yana, there was a potential giveaway that you might share. I don't know if you're going to do that now, but
we still have a few seconds for giveaway. So I'm just a few people saying thank you, Jake and Judy. Thank you, guys. Yeah, and obviously for those who stick with us for a whole hour, there is a nice surprise at the end, and Andrew gonna offer 3 strategy session where he can help you to look at your content for LinkedIn and help you to come up with the content strategy. So Andrew, who is this lucky winner today?
Well, I reckon Craig was probably the most vocal. So I think, well done, Craig. What we can do is we can look at your LinkedIn profile and also have a quick sort of brainstorm. Maybe there's some different strategies around the types of content. It just depends on where you're at with your marketing. So happy to have that session and help sort of turn this into reality. But yeah, I guess the free marketing tools is a good step for anyone who's looking that we use ourselves here. If you're looking to do it yourself, have a go at that and see how you go.
Perfect. So I'll make sure I'll connect Craig and you on LinkedIn so you can guys have a chat after. And so for everyone else, thank you so much for joining us today. As usual, thank you so much for not going to the restaurant on Wednesday night.
Enjoy the eating in.
And eating in and joining our discussion today. So I'm looking forward to see you all next Wednesday. And Andrew, last sentence from you. Maybe some quote?
Be human. There's my quote.
Here we go. Be
Enjoy,
human
guys.
on LinkedIn. Be human on LinkedIn, guys.
Thanks for turning up today. Great.
And thank you so much again. And I'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks, Yana. Thanks, everyone.
Kmart. I should put this comment. Yes. I'm really excited about Kmart too. Kmart is the best. Thank you, guys. See you.